I had $23 left in my checking account, and I was staring at my sister's text asking me to send her $500. Again. My finger hovered over the transfer button. My stomach was churning because I knew what this meant. I'd have to put groceries on my credit card. Again. I'd have to skip paying my electric bill. Again. I'd have to call my landlord and beg for another extension. Again. But she's my sister. Can't make rent this month, her message said. Landlord is threatening eviction. Please. I'll pay you back. She always said she'd pay me back. She never did. I pressed send before I could talk myself out of it. $500 transferred from my account to hers. My balance dropped to negative $477. I felt sick. But something about that message felt off this time. Something I couldn't quite name. A feeling in my gut that whispered this isn't right, this doesn't add up, something is wrong. The feeling had been building for weeks, maybe months. Little inconsistencies that I'd been ignoring because acknowledging them would mean acknowledging something much worse. I wish I had trusted that feeling sooner. My name is Riley, and I thought helping my sister meant sacrificing everything. I thought that's what family did. I thought love meant giving until you had nothing left. I was wrong about all of it. This started 2 years ago when my younger sister Megan called me crying at 11 at night. I was already in bed, exhausted from a double shift at the restaurant where I worked as a server. The phone's vibration startled me awake. I grabbed it, saw Megan's name, and my first thought was that something terrible had happened. She never called this late. Riley, I don't know what to do, she sobbed into the phone. I'm 3 months behind on rent and my landlord is going to evict me. I've been trying so hard but I just can't keep up with everything. I sat up in bed, my heart pounding. 3 months? Megan, why didn't you tell me sooner? I was embarrassed. I kept thinking I'd figure it out. But I can't. I've been skipping meals to try to save money. I've been selling stuff. I don't know what else to do. Megan was 24, 3 years younger than me. She'd always struggled with money, always had some crisis or emergency. Growing up, I was the responsible one. The one who saved her allowance while Megan spent hers immediately. The one who worked through college while Megan partied and dropped out halfway through. Our parents died in a car accident when I was 22 and Megan was 19. After that, it was just us. I felt responsible for her in a way I never had before. She was all I had left of our family. The only person in the world who shared my memories, my history, my blood. How much do you need? I asked, already doing the math in my head of what I could afford. $1,800. I know it's a lot. I'm so sorry. I've just been struggling with bills and my job doesn't pay enough and I had that car repair last month that wiped out my savings. It's okay, I interrupted, even though it wasn't okay. $1,800 was most of my savings. The money I'd been carefully putting away for 2 years, planning to use it eventually for a down payment on a car that didn't break down every other month. But what else could I do? Let my sister become homeless? I'll send it tomorrow. Oh my God, Riley, thank you so much. I promise I'll pay you back as soon as I can. You're saving my life. I don't know what I'd do without you. The gratitude in her voice made me feel good despite the anxiety about parting with that much money. This was what family did. This was what our parents would have wanted. Take care of each other. I sent her the money the next day. My savings account went from $2,100 to $300. Years of careful saving, gone in one transfer. Megan sent me a dozen grateful text messages. Told me I was the best sister in the world. Told me she didn't deserve me. Sent me a long voice message where she cried and thanked me and promised she'd get back on her feet and pay me back as soon as possible. I felt like a good sister. Like I'd done the right thing. That was the first time. I didn't know it was the beginning of a pattern that would nearly destroy me. A month later, she called again. Her car needed new brakes. The mechanic said it was dangerous to drive without fixing them. $700. I get paid next week and I can give you $200 of it back, she said. But I need to fix this now. I can't get to work without my car. I sent it. My savings went from $300 to -$400. I had to transfer money from my checking account to cover it. 2 weeks after that, she had a medical emergency. No insurance. An emergency room visit for what turned out to be a panic attack. $1,200. I can't believe they charged me that much just to tell me I was having anxiety, she said, her voice thick with tears. I'm so sorry to ask again. I know you just helped me. But I don't know what else to do. They sent it to collections and it's affecting my credit. I put it on my credit card. Started carrying a balance for the first time in my life. The pattern continued. Every few weeks, there was a new crisis. A new emergency. A new desperate call or text from Megan explaining why she needed money right now. Each time, she sounded genuinely distressed. Each time, she promised to pay me back. Each time, I believed her because she was my sister and why would she lie to me? Her utilities were getting shut off. Her phone was getting turned off. She needed groceries. She needed gas money to get to work. She needed money for a prescription. She needed money for a job interview outfit. She needed money because her hours got cut. She needed money because she had an unexpected tax bill. And every time I sent it. I started picking up extra shifts at the restaurant. My manager loved it because I was reliable, always willing to cover for people. I started working 6 days a week, then 7. Double shifts when I could get them. I'd come home at midnight exhausted, my feet aching, my back sore, smelling like fryer grease and beer. I'd shower, collapse into bed, and do it again the next day. I started skipping meals to save money. Breakfast was just coffee. Lunch was whatever mistakes the kitchen made that they were going to throw away anyway. Dinner was usually just more coffee or a handful of crackers. My friends noticed I stopped going out with them. Stopped joining them for drinks or movies or dinner. I made excuses about being tired or busy, but the truth was I couldn't afford it anymore. Every dollar I earned went to keeping Megan afloat. My best friend Jasmine tried to talk to me about it one afternoon. We were supposed to get lunch together, but I'd suggested just meeting for coffee instead. I ordered water. You're doing too much for Megan, she said, watching me with concerned eyes. This isn't healthy. She's my sister, I said. She's all I have left. That doesn't mean you have to destroy yourself to help her. I'm not destroying myself. I'm just helping family. That's what you do. Riley, you've lost weight. You look exhausted all the time. You never do anything for yourself anymore. When was the last time you bought yourself something new? When was the last time you had fun? I don't need things. I don't need fun. I need to help my sister. Jasmine reached across the table and took my hand. What about helping yourself? I'm fine. You're not fine. And Megan is an adult. She needs to figure this out herself. She's trying. She's just had some bad luck. For 2 years? Riley, at some point bad luck becomes bad choices. I pulled my hand away, feeling defensive and angry. You don't understand. You have your whole family. Your parents help you all the time. I'm all Megan has. I know. But, can we talk about something else? Jasmine looked like she wanted to push it, but she dropped it. We finished our coffee in uncomfortable silence. I should have listened to her. 6 months into this pattern, I was $20,000 in debt. My credit cards were maxed out. I was behind on my own rent. My car was making a horrible noise I couldn't afford to fix. I was living on rice and canned beans because that's all I could afford. I'd stopped going to the dentist because I couldn't afford the copay. I'd stopped buying new clothes even though my work uniform was getting threadbare. I'd stop doing anything that cost money. Meanwhile, Megan's Instagram showed pictures of her out with friends. Smiling. Happy. No signs of the desperate poverty she described to me in our phone calls. I noticed, but I didn't question it. I told myself she deserved to have some happiness even while struggling. I told myself going out with friends was probably the only thing keeping her sane during this difficult time. I didn't let myself think about the fact that going out with friends costs money. Money she supposedly didn't have. My manager at work pulled me aside one day after I'd worked 12 days straight without a day off. "Riley, you need to take a break. You look exhausted." "I'm fine. I like staying busy." "You're going to burn out. Take tomorrow off." "I can't afford to take a day off." She looked at me with concern. "Are you okay? Is something going on?" "I'm fine," I lied, the same lie I told everyone. "Just saving money for something." That night, Megan called asking for $900 for her car insurance. "I know I just asked for money last week," she said quickly, and I could hear the tears in her voice. "But they're going to cancel my policy if I don't pay by Friday. And I can't drive without insurance. I'll lose my job if I can't drive." "Megan, I don't have $900. Can you put it on your credit card?" "Please, Riley. I'm desperate. I'll pay you back. I'm getting a raise next month and I'll be able to start paying you back everything." My credit cards were maxed out. I'd opened 3 new ones in the past month just to keep up with her requests. I was paying hundreds of dollars in interest every month on top of trying to make minimum payments. "I can't. I'm tapped out. Please, Riley. I can't lose this job. If I lose my car insurance and can't drive, they'll fire me. Then I really won't be able to pay you back. Please. I'm begging you." There it was. The implication that if I didn't help her now, I'd never get any of the money back. The threat wrapped in desperation. "Let me see what I can do," I said, already knowing I'd find a way. I ended up selling my laptop. The one I needed for the online classes I was taking to try to get a better job, to try to improve my situation. I got $600 for it from a pawn shop. I borrowed $300 from Jasmine, promising I'd pay her back in 2 weeks even though I had no idea how I would. I sent Megan the $900. She sent back a string of grateful emojis and a message, "You're literally the best sister ever. I don't know what I'd do without you. I love you so much." I stared at that message and felt nothing. Just numbness. Just exhaustion. A year into supporting Megan, I was barely surviving. I'd lost 12 pounds because I wasn't eating enough. I had dark circles under my eyes from stress and exhaustion. I was working 60-hour weeks just to stay afloat while supporting both of us. I'd started having panic attacks. They'd come out of nowhere, at work, at home, in my car. My chest would tighten, my hands would shake, I couldn't breathe. I couldn't afford to go to the doctor about it. I just had to ride them out. I'd stopped seeing my friends entirely. Stopped answering their calls. Stopped responding to their texts. It was easier than making excuses for why I couldn't go out, why I couldn't contribute to group gifts, why I couldn't participate in normal life anymore. Jasmine tried to stage an intervention at one point. She showed up at my apartment unannounced with Thai food and a determined look on her face. "We need to talk about Megan," she said, pushing past me into my apartment. "There's nothing to talk about. Riley, you're destroying yourself. Look at you. When was the last time you ate a real meal?" "I eat." "When was the last time you did something for yourself? Bought yourself something? Took a day off?" "I don't need anything. Everyone needs things. Everyone needs rest. Everyone needs joy. You're just existing, not living." "I'm helping my sister." "That's enough." "It's not enough. And she's taking advantage of you." "She's not. She's struggling." "Is she?" Because from what I can see on her Instagram, she's going out all the time. She posted pictures from a concert last week. Those tickets aren't cheap. Someone probably took her. Or she's lying to you about how bad things are. Why would she do that? Because you keep giving her money. Because it's easier than taking responsibility for her own life. Get out. Riley, I said get out. I don't need you judging my sister or telling me how to handle my family. Jasmine left, but not before saying, when you're ready to see the truth, I'll be here. I didn't speak to her for 2 months after that. 14 months into supporting Megan, something shifted. I was at her apartment dropping off some groceries I'd bought her. She'd called crying about not having food, so I'd spent my last $40 at the grocery store buying basics for her. Pasta, canned sauce, bread, peanut butter, some frozen vegetables. She'd hugged me when I arrived, thanked me profusely, told me again that she didn't deserve me. While she was in the bathroom, her phone buzzed on the coffee table. I wasn't trying to snoop. I wasn't the kind of person who looked at other people's phones. But the notification lit up the screen right in front of me where I was sitting, and I couldn't help but see it. It was a text from someone named Blake, still on for dinner at Marcello's tonight? 8 p.m.? Can't wait to see you. Marcello's was the most expensive Italian restaurant in town. I knew because I'd always wanted to go there but could never afford it. I'd looked at the menu online once, daydreaming. Entrees started at $40. With wine and appetizers and dessert, you could easily spend $100 per person. My sister, who'd called me crying this morning about not having money for food, was going to a $100 per person restaurant. Something cold settled in my stomach. When she came out of the bathroom, I asked casually, "Hey, who's Blake?" She looked startled, then glanced at her phone. "Just a friend." "Why?" "Your phone buzzed. Something about dinner plans." "Oh. Yeah. Just a casual thing." "At Marcello's?" Her face flushed. "It's not like that. Blake is paying. I'm not spending any money. It's Blake's birthday and they invited me." "Right," I said, but I didn't believe her. If it was Blake's birthday, why was Blake making the reservation? Why was the text phrased like they were looking forward to seeing her specifically, not like it was a group celebration? I drove home with that cold feeling growing heavier in my chest. That night, I did something I'd never done before. I looked at Megan's Instagram. Really looked at it, instead of just scrolling past her posts in my feed. The posts were all carefully curated happiness. Photos of her out at restaurants with friends. Photos of new clothes with tags still on them, treating myself to a little retail therapy. Photos of weekend trips to the beach, to the mountains, to wineries. I scrolled back through months of posts. 3 weeks ago, she'd posted pictures from a concert. The tickets were visible in one photo, floor seats, close to the stage. I looked up that concert. Those tickets had cost at least $150 each. This was right after she'd called me crying about needing money for groceries. 5 weeks ago, she'd posted a photo of a new pair of designer sneakers. I recognized the brand because I'd looked at them once in a store, wishing I could afford them. Those were $200. This was right after she'd needed money for her electric bill. 2 months ago, she'd been at a spa day with friends. The photos showed champagne glasses, face masks, white robes, cucumber water in fancy glasses. A spa day like that was easily $300, maybe more. This was right after she'd needed money for her car payment. All while she was calling me crying about not being able to afford rent. All while I was skipping meals and working myself to exhaustion to help her. The cold feeling turned to something sharper. Anger. Betrayal. Confusion. But I still didn't confront her. I told myself maybe people were paying for her. Maybe those were gifts. Maybe the concert tickets were from a boyfriend. Maybe the spa day was a gift from a friend. Maybe I was reading too much into it. Because the alternative, that my sister was lying to me, using me, manipulating me, was too painful to consider. So I pushed it down. Ignored it. Kept sending money when she asked. The next month, Megan asked for $1,200 for rent again. "I'm so sorry," she said on the phone, her voice thick with tears that sounded so genuine I couldn't doubt them. "I thought I'd be caught up by now, but my hours got cut at work and I'm drowning. I can't keep asking you for help. I feel terrible. You've already done so much." "How much are your hours cut?" I asked, trying to keep my tone neutral. "What? You said your hours got cut. By how much?" About 10 hours a week. That's only a couple $100 a month." "Why do you need $1,200? "Because I'm already behind. I have other bills too, Riley. Utilities, phone, car insurance." "God, why are you interrogating me? Do you want to see my bills? Do you want itemized receipts?" "I'm not interrogating you. I just want to understand, forget it. I'll figure it out myself. I'll just get evicted. I'll be homeless. But at least I won't be a burden to you anymore." The dial tone buzzed in my ear. The guilt hit immediately, overwhelming and crushing. What was wrong with me? My sister was struggling and I was questioning her like she was lying. She was crying. She was desperate. And I was acting like some kind of accountant demanding receipts. I called her back immediately. "I'm sorry," I said when she answered. "I didn't mean to interrogate you. I'm just stressed about money too. But I'll send it." "Of course I'll send it." "You don't have to," she said, still crying. "I don't want to be a burden." "You're not a burden. You're my sister. Family helps family. I promise I'll pay you back. As soon as I'm back on my feet." "I know you will." I sent her the $1,200. Put it on my credit card because I didn't have it in my account. My credit card debt climbed to $28,000. I hated myself for questioning her. Hated myself for making her cry. Hated myself for not just helping without making it complicated. The doubt had planted itself, but I buried it under guilt and obligation. 2 weeks later, I ran into someone who knew Megan. A girl named Taylor who worked at the gym Megan went to. I was at the grocery store, standing in the produce section trying to decide if I could afford bananas this week, when someone called my name. "Riley? Riley Chen?" I turned and saw a pretty blonde girl in workout clothes smiling at me. "I'm Taylor. I work at the gym your sister goes to. Megan's told me so much about you." "Oh. Hi." I tried to smile, though I was exhausted and didn't really want to make small talk. "She talks about you all the time. Says you're super close." "We are," I said. "That's so nice. I wish I had a sister like that. Someone who'd do anything for me." Something in the way she said it made me pause. "What do you mean?" "Oh, just that Megan's always talking about how you help her out. How you're so generous. She was telling me and some other girls at the gym last week about how you sent her money for rent and she used part of it to buy those new Lululemon workout clothes she was showing off. They're so cute. I've been wanting a pair but they're like $130. My blood went cold. The bananas I was holding fell from my hand. "She what?" Taylor's face changed, realizing she'd said something wrong. "Oh. Oh no. Was I not supposed to say that?" "She told you she used rent money I sent her to buy workout clothes?" "I thought you knew." I thought, oh God, I'm sorry. Forget I said anything. Wait. She told you this directly? That I sent her money for rent and she used it for clothes? Yes. She was showing off the leggings and the sports bra and she said they were expensive but worth it because they make her feel good and you'd sent her a little extra with the rent money. My vision was tunneling. I felt dizzy. When was this? Last week? Maybe Wednesday? Wednesday was 3 days after I'd sent her the $1,200. 3 days after she'd cried to me about being behind on rent and utilities. "I have to go," I said. "I'm so sorry." I didn't mean to, but I was already walking away, leaving my shopping basket abandoned in the produce section. I got to my car and sat there, hands shaking on the steering wheel. She'd used rent money to buy workout clothes. Rent money I'd gone into debt to send her. Rent money I'd put on my credit card. And she'd bragged about it to her gym friends. I drove straight to Megan's apartment. Didn't call ahead. Didn't give her a chance to prepare. Just drove the 15 minutes to her building with my heart pounding and rage building in my chest. I knocked on her door until she answered. "Riley? What's wrong? Why are you here?" "I ran into Taylor from your gym." Her face went pale. "Oh? She said you used money I sent you for rent to buy workout clothes. Is that true?" That's not." She misunderstood. "Did you or didn't you use the money I sent you for rent to buy clothes?" "It wasn't that much. And I got them on sale. I needed new workout clothes, my old ones were falling apart." "Megan, I sent you $1,200 for rent. You told me you were about to be evicted." "I was. I am. But I had a little left over after I paid part of the rent and you had money left over from rent money and you bought workout clothes instead of saving it for next month or paying off more of your back rent. Why are you being like this?" "God, I'm sorry I bought myself something nice for once. I'm sorry I'm not perfect like you. I'm sorry I wanted to feel good about myself. This isn't about being perfect. This is about me working myself to death to keep you housed while you're spending money on luxury athletic wear. It's not luxury, it's basic self-care. You don't understand what it's like. You don't understand the pressure I'm under." "What pressure? What pressure are you under that I'm not?" "I'm the one working 60 hours a week. I'm the one who can't afford to eat. I'm the one in debt up to my eyes. Because you choose to be. I never forced you to help me." The words hung between us like a slap. "You're right," I said quietly, feeling something break inside me. "You never forced me. I chose to help you. I chose to believe you needed it." I turned to leave. "Riley, wait. I didn't mean, yeah, you did." I left before she could say anything else. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying the conversation. Kept thinking about all the money I'd sent her. Kept thinking about her Instagram posts and the concert tickets and the designer shoes and the spa days and now the $130 workout clothes. How much of what she told me was true? How much was a lie? I needed to know. The next morning, I did something I'd been avoiding. Something I should have done months ago. I logged into my bank account and went through every transaction from the past 18 months. Every single dollar I'd sent to Megan. I made a spreadsheet. Dated each transaction. Noted what she said the money was for. The total made me sick. $43,000. $43,000 I'd sent my sister in 18 months. I sat staring at that number, unable to process it. How had I not realized? How had I let it get this bad? I was $52,000 in debt between credit cards and the loan I'd taken out to help her 6 months ago. I'd ruined my credit. I'd destroyed my savings. I'd sacrificed everything. And for what? So my sister could go to concerts and spas and buy designer clothes while lying to me about being on the verge of homelessness? I went back through my notes about what she said she needed money for. Rent, $18,600, supposedly 15 months of help with rent, car repairs, $3,400 medical bills, $4,200 utilities, $2,800 insurance, $2,700 groceries, $1,900 emergencies, $9,400 if she was telling the truth. She should be current on everything. She should be fine. But she kept asking for more. Which meant either she was still in crisis despite all this money, or she was lying about where the money was going. I needed to know the truth. I needed to know if Megan really needed all that money or if she'd been lying to me this whole time. So I did something I'm not proud of. Something that crossed a line. I waited until I knew Megan would be at work, and I went to her apartment. I still had a key from when I'd been cat-sitting for her months ago. She'd never asked for it back. I let myself in, my heart pounding, feeling like a criminal. I didn't know what I was looking for. Evidence, I guess. Proof that she'd been lying. Or proof that she hadn't, that I was being paranoid and awful and my sister really was struggling. I started in her bedroom. Her closet was full of clothes. Nice clothes. Expensive brands. Way more than someone struggling to make rent should have. I found tags still attached to some items. A dress that cost $140. A jacket that cost $200. Shoes that cost $110. All recent purchases based on the dates on the receipts I found in her dresser drawer. In her nightstand drawer, I found more receipts. Restaurants, bars, shopping trips. All recent. All expensive. Dinner at Marcello's 2 weeks ago, $187. Drinks at a rooftop bar, $93. Shopping at Nordstrom, $340. Concert tickets, $310. All while she was calling me crying about not being able to afford rent. In her desk, I found her laptop. I shouldn't have opened it. I knew it was wrong. It was a massive invasion of privacy. But I did it anyway. Her laptop wasn't password protected. I opened her banking app, my heart in my throat. And that's when I saw it. Her checking account balance, $12,482. I stared at that number, unable to breathe. $12,000. My sister had $12,000 in her checking account. I clicked to her savings account. Balance, $23,856. I felt like I was falling. Like the floor had disappeared beneath me. Like reality itself was breaking apart. She had almost $36,000 saved. While I was skipping meals. While I was working myself into exhaustion. While I was drowning in debt. While I was begging my landlord for extensions and borrowing money from friends and selling my possessions to help her. She had $36,000 saved. I clicked through her transaction history with shaking hands, barely able to see through the tears forming in my eyes. Regular deposits from her job. $3,200 every 2 weeks. That was $6,400 a month. She'd told me she was making $2,800 a month. She'd been lying about how much she made. Regular transfers to her savings account. $2,000 each month. She'd been systematically saving while telling me she couldn't afford her bills. I scrolled back through months of transactions. No evidence of the rent crisis she'd been describing to me for over a year. Her rent was automatically deducted from her account every month. $1,100. On time. Every time. She'd never been behind on rent. She'd never been on the verge of eviction. She'd been lying about all of it. I found her credit card statements next, my hands trembling so badly I could barely click the mouse. Restaurants. Shopping. Uber rides. Concert tickets. Weekend trips. Spa days. Expensive workout clothes. Bar tabs. Coffee shops. All the things I'd seen on her Instagram. None of the desperate poverty she'd described to me on our phone calls. I went back further in her bank records. Back 18 months too. When this all started. The first time she'd called me crying about being 3 months behind on rent. I found her transactions from that period. Rent had been paid on time. Every month. She'd never been behind. She'd lied to me from the very beginning. That first $1,800 I sent her, the money that came from my savings, that I'd been putting away for 2 years, she'd deposited it and immediately transferred it to her savings account. She'd never needed it for rent. She just wanted it. I don't remember leaving her apartment. I don't remember driving home. I was moving on autopilot, my brain unable to process what I'd discovered. When I got home, I sat on my couch and I couldn't cry. I couldn't scream. I couldn't feel anything. Just this hollow numbness where my sister used to be. She'd lied to me. For 18 months, she'd lied to me. Every desperate phone call. Every tearful conversation. Every crisis and emergency and catastrophe. All lies. She'd used me. Manipulated me. Stolen from me. Because taking money from someone under false pretenses is stealing. She'd watched me destroy myself financially, emotionally, physically. She'd watched me skip meals and work myself into the ground and go into debt. She'd listened to me apologize for not being able to send more, for not being able to help faster. And the entire time, she'd been saving my money. Building her nest egg on my sacrifice. My phone buzzed. A text from Megan. Hey. Random question, but could you help me out with $800 for my car payment? I know I just asked for money, but I'm really tight this month. Love you. I stared at that message for a long time. Then I called her. She answered on the second ring, her voice cheerful. Hey. Did you get my text? I was at your apartment today. Silence. What? I was at your apartment. I used my key. I saw your laptop. More silence. Then, you went through my stuff? I saw your bank accounts, Megan. You had no right, you have $36,000. That's none of your business. I've sent you $43,000 in the past 18 months. You told me you were struggling. You told me you couldn't make rent. You told me you needed my help. I never asked you to send that much. That was your choice. Because you lied to me. You told me you were about to be evicted. You told me you couldn't afford food. You cried to me about drowning in bills. I was trying to save money. Is that a crime? I'm trying to build a future. By stealing from me? By lying to me? By watching me destroy myself financially to help you while you were actually fine? I didn't steal anything. You gave me that money. Under false pretenses. You lied about needing it. You lied about being in crisis. You lied about everything. Oh my God, you're so dramatic. So I have some savings. So what? You're the one who chose to help me. You're the one who kept sending money. I never forced you. Her words were like knives. You're right, I said, my voice shaking with rage and heartbreak. You never forced me. You just lied to me. You just manipulated me. You just let me think you were in crisis while you were actually saving thousands of dollars. I can't believe you went through my stuff. That's such a violation of privacy. Are you serious right now? You're making this about privacy? Yes. You had no right to go through my things. You had no right to look at my bank accounts. And you had no right to lie to me for 18 months. You had no right to take money under false pretenses. You had no right to watch me work myself to exhaustion while you were perfectly fine. Whatever, Riley. I don't need this. I don't need you judging me. I'm not judging you. I'm finally seeing you clearly. And what do you see? Someone who uses people. Someone who manipulates and lies and takes advantage of the people who love them. Someone I don't recognize anymore. Fuck you, Riley. Fuck you for going through my stuff and fuck you for making me feel bad about having savings. You know what? I'm glad I never told you. Because this is exactly how you'd react. You've always been jealous of me. Jealous? You think I'm jealous? Yes. You've always been jealous that I'm younger and prettier and more fun than you. You're boring and uptight, and this is just you being bitter because you wasted your money. I didn't waste my money. You stole it through lies and manipulation. I didn't steal anything. God, you're so self-righteous. Maybe if you weren't so uptight about money you wouldn't be in this situation. I'm in this situation because I believed you when you said you needed help. I'm in this situation because I loved you and trusted you. Well, I'm done with this conversation. Don't contact me again. She hung up. I sat there holding my phone, shaking all over, tears finally starting to fall. She turned it around on me. Made herself the victim. Made me the villain for discovering her lies. That's what manipulators do. When they get caught, they attack. They deflect. They make you question yourself. But I wasn't questioning myself. Not anymore. I knew the truth now. I didn't sleep that night. I kept replaying the conversation. Kept thinking about the past 18 months. Kept wondering how I'd been so blind. How I'd let someone I loved use me so completely. The next morning, Megan sent me a text. I've been thinking about what you said. You're right that I should have been more honest with you about my financial situation. But you also need to understand that I was just trying to be financially responsible and build security for myself. I'm sorry if you feel used. That wasn't my intention. A non-apology. Taking no real responsibility. Admitting no actual wrongdoing. Just, I'm sorry you feel that way. The classic manipulator's apology. I didn't respond. Over the next few days, she tried calling several times. Left voicemails that ranged from angry to tearful to manipulative. Riley, please call me back. We need to talk about this like adults. I can't believe you're doing this. I'm your sister. You're really going to throw away our relationship over this? Fine. I guess I know where I stand with you now. Good to know family means nothing to you. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry. I should have been honest. Please talk to me. You know what? You're not perfect either. Remember when you forgot my birthday last year? Remember when you said you'd help me move and then canceled? I forgave you for those things. Each message was designed to make me feel guilty, to make me doubt myself, to pull me back in. I didn't respond to any of them. A week later, she showed up at my apartment. I'd just gotten home from work, exhausted from another double shift. I was unlocking my door when I heard her voice behind me. We need to talk. I turned. She was standing there with tears in her eyes, looking small and vulnerable. I don't think we do. Please. Just let me explain. Against my better judgment, I let her in. Maybe part of me still wanted to believe there was an explanation. That somehow this could be fixed. We sat in my living room, the silence heavy between us. I'm sorry, she said finally, her voice small. I'm sorry I wasn't honest with you about my financial situation. That wasn't fair to you. No, it wasn't. But you have to understand where I was coming from. After Mom and Dad died, I felt so unstable. So scared. I needed to know I had money saved. That I'd be okay if something happened. I couldn't tell you I was saving because I knew you'd stop helping me. Exactly. You knew if I knew the truth, I wouldn't send you money. So you lied. I didn't lie. I just didn't tell you everything. That's called lying by omission, Megan. You created fictional crises. You cried to me about being evicted when you were never behind on rent. You told me you couldn't afford food while you were going to expensive restaurants. That's not omission. That's active deception. Okay, fine. I lied. I'm sorry. But can you understand why? Can you understand that I was scared and trying to protect myself? By using me? By manipulating me into giving you money you didn't need? I did need it. I needed to save. I needed security. At my expense. Literally. I'm $52,000 in debt because of you. I can't afford to eat. I'm working myself to death. And you have $36,000 saved that you built with my money. I'll pay you back. When? I don't know. When I can. You can right now. You have the money. Her face changed. Hardened. The vulnerability disappeared. I'm not giving you my savings. So you won't pay me back? Not right now. That's my emergency fund. I can't touch it. Your emergency fund that you built with my money. Money you took under false pretenses. It's not your money anymore. You gave it to me. And there it was. The truth beneath all the apologies and tears. She had no intention of paying me back. She felt entitled to the money. To my sacrifice. Get out, I said quietly. Riley, get out of my apartment. We're family. We can work through this. Family doesn't do what you did to me. Family doesn't lie and manipulate and steal. Get out. You're really going to throw me away over this? Over money? You threw me away the moment you decided I was worth more to you as a bank than as a sister. Get out. She stared at me for a long moment, and I could see her calculating. Trying to figure out which approach would work. Tears? Anger? Guilt? Finally, she stood up. You're going to regret this. When you're alone and you realize you pushed away your only family over some money, you're going to regret it. I'll regret the 18 months I spent believing your lies. But I won't regret protecting myself now. Leave. She walked to the door, then turned back. Everyone's going to know about this. They're going to know what you did. How you abandoned your sister. Tell them whatever you want. I have bank statements that tell the real story. She left, slamming the door behind her. I locked it and sat down on my couch, waiting for the guilt to come. Waiting for the doubt. Waiting for the voice that would tell me I'd been too harsh. It didn't come. Instead, I felt something I hadn't felt in 18 months. Relief. If you're still watching this, if this story is hitting close to home, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from and whether you've experienced something similar. Your engagement helps these stories reach people who need to hear them. Because I know I'm not the only one who's been used by family. In the weeks that followed, Megan tried everything to get me to respond. Angry texts about how I was abandoning her, how I was cruel and heartless, how I was choosing money over family. Sad texts about how much she missed me, how sorry she was, how she wanted to fix things between us. Manipulative texts about family obligation, about what our parents would think, about how disappointed they'd be in me for cutting her off. She had friends text me. People I barely knew telling me I was being too harsh, that everyone makes mistakes, that I should forgive her. She's really sorry, one message said. She's been crying for days. She knows she messed up. Can't you give her another chance? I blocked all of them. I also started working on fixing my own financial situation. I met with a financial advisor who looked at my debt with sympathetic eyes and helped me create a plan. It would take years, but I could pay it off. I could rebuild. I picked up even more shifts at the restaurant. Started selling things I didn't need. Cut every possible expense from my budget. I canceled subscriptions I'd forgotten about. Downgraded my phone plan. Stopped buying anything that wasn't absolutely essential. It was hard. Harder than anything I'd done before. But it was also freeing. Because every dollar I earned was mine now. Every sacrifice I made was for me, for my future, not for someone who was using me. I started eating again. Real food, not just scraps. It wasn't fancy, but it was consistent. Rice and beans and eggs and vegetables from the discount rack. I started sleeping better. The panic attacks became less frequent. I was still struggling, still stressed, still exhausted. But there was a difference now. I was working towards something instead of pouring water into a bucket with a hole in the bottom. 3 months after I cut Megan off, Jasmine called me. Have you seen Megan's Instagram lately? I blocked her. You need to look at it. I'm sending you screenshots. The screenshots showed recent posts from Megan. Pictures of her looking sad and defeated. Captions about being betrayed by the person she trusted most and learning who really has your back when things get hard. Posts about how some people will abandon you over a misunderstanding and how she was learning to stand on her own. A long post about how she'd made an error in judgment but her sister had cut her off completely over money. The post made me sound like the villain. Like I'd abandoned her over a small mistake. No mention of the lies. No mention of the $43,000. No mention of the 18 months of manipulation. Just poor Megan, abandoned by her cruel sister over money. The comments were full of people supporting her. You deserve better than that. Family should be there for each other no matter what. She's going to regret losing you. Money comes and goes but family is forever. I felt rage burn through me, hot and righteous. She was playing the victim publicly. Rewriting history. Making herself the wronged party. But I didn't respond. I didn't comment. I didn't post my own side of the story. Because the people who mattered already knew the truth. Jasmine knew. My manager at work knew. The few friends I had left knew. Everyone else? They could believe what they wanted. I wasn't going to defend myself against lies. I wasn't going to participate in her narrative. I just moved forward with my life and let her deal with hers. 6 months after cutting Megan off, she tried one more time. She showed up at the restaurant where I worked. Sat in my section. Waited until I approached her table. When I saw her sitting there, my first instinct was to have someone else cover the table. But I didn't. I walked over with my order pad and my professional server smile. Welcome in. What can I get you to drink? Riley. Please. Can we talk? I'm working. Just 5 minutes. Please. I miss you. I looked at her and felt nothing. No anger. No hurt. Just emptiness. There's nothing to talk about, I said. You used me. I caught you. It's done. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. Can't you forgive me? Maybe someday. But not today. And not in a way that lets you back into my life. So you're just going to cut me off forever? Over this? You made your choice when you decided to lie to me for 18 months. You chose money over honesty. Over our relationship. I'm making my choice now. I'm your sister. You were my sister. Now you're just someone I used to know who took advantage of me. That's not fair. Life isn't fair, Megan. You taught me that. I walked away from her table. Asked my manager to have someone else cover it. She left without ordering. Without leaving a tip for whoever did end up serving her. Some things never change. I never saw her again after that. A year after I discovered the truth, I was still struggling financially. Still in debt. Still working multiple jobs. But I was also healing. I was learning to say no. Learning to set boundaries. Learning that helping someone shouldn't require destroying yourself. I was learning that love without respect isn't love at all. I was in therapy now, working through the betrayal and the guilt and the anger. Learning to recognize manipulation. Learning to trust my instincts. Learning that what Megan had done to me was called financial abuse. That it was real and valid and traumatic. Learning that I wasn't stupid or weak for falling for it. I was loving and trusting, and those aren't character flaws. Megan was the one with character flaws. Not me. 18 months after cutting Megan off, I got a letter in the mail. From Megan. I almost threw it away without reading it. Almost fed it straight into the shredder. But curiosity won. The letter was long. Pages of her explaining that she'd been in therapy. That she'd come to understand what she'd done. That she'd been using money as a way to feel secure and had lost sight of how it was affecting me. She said she was sorry. Really sorry. Not for getting caught, but for doing it in the first place. She said she understood if I never forgave her. That she didn't expect me to. She said she'd transferred $10,000 to my account. It was all she could afford right now, but she was committed to paying back every dollar over time. She included a payment plan showing she'd pay me $500 a month until the debt was clear. I checked my bank account. The $10,000 was there. I sat with that letter for days. Part of me wanted to respond. Wanted to believe she'd changed. Wanted to rebuild something. But the bigger part of me knew the truth. She wasn't sorry she'd done it. She was sorry she'd lost access to me. The $10,000 wasn't restitution. It was an investment. She was paying to get me back in her life. And I wasn't for sale anymore. I deposited the money. Used it to pay down my debt. But I didn't respond to the letter. Over the next year, she sent the $500 every month like clockwork. Always on the first of the month. Always with a brief note, payment 1 of 66 or payment 7 of 66. It would take her 5.5 years to pay back the $43,000 at this rate. And that wasn't including the interest I'd paid on credit cards, the opportunities I'd lost, the damage to my credit. But it was something. I still didn't respond. Didn't thank her. Didn't acknowledge the payments beyond depositing them. Because this wasn't about reconciliation. This was about restitution. She owed me this money. Paying it back was the bare minimum, not something deserving of praise or renewed relationship. 2 years after cutting Megan off, I was finally starting to see real progress. My debt was down to $30,000. Still significant, but manageable. I'd gotten a promotion at work. Better pay, better hours, better benefits. I'd started taking classes again. Online courses paid for by my employer toward a degree in business management. I'd made new friends. Real friends who valued me for who I was, not what I could do for them. I'd started therapy to work through the betrayal and the guilt and the anger. To understand the patterns that had made me vulnerable to this kind of manipulation. My therapist helped me see that I'd been parentified as a child. That I'd learned early that my value came from taking care of others. That Megan had exploited that vulnerability expertly. I learned about setting boundaries. About recognizing red flags. About understanding that no is a complete sentence. I learned that what Megan had done to me was financial abuse. That it was real and valid and traumatic. That I wasn't overreacting or being dramatic. I learned that love without respect is just exploitation with good PR. 3 years after cutting Megan off, I ran into her at the grocery store. We locked eyes across the produce section, and for a moment, neither of us moved. She looked different. Older. More tired. The carefree happiness from her Instagram photos was gone. For a moment, I considered just walking away. Pretending I hadn't seen her. But then she walked over. "Hi," she said, her voice tentative. "Hi. How are you?" "I'm good. You?" "I'm okay. Working a lot. Saving less." She tried to smile but it didn't reach her eyes. Trying to be better. Actually struggling now instead of pretending. "That's good. That you're being honest." Silence stretched between us, heavy with everything unsaid. "I meant what I said in that letter," she said. "I'm sorry. For all of it. I've been in therapy for 2 years now. I understand what I did to you. How I used you. How I manipulated you. I know. Do you think we'll ever be able to fix this? Be sisters again?" I thought about that question. Really thought about it. "I don't know," I said honestly. "Maybe someday. But not now. Not yet." She nodded, tears forming in her eyes. "I understand. I hope you're doing well, Megan. I really do." I hope you're working on yourself and building an honest life. But I can't have you in my life right now. Maybe not ever. I get it. I do. She wiped at her eyes. For what it's worth, you were right about everything. I was using you. I was lying. I was manipulating you. And I destroyed the most important relationship in my life because I wanted money I didn't even need. Thank you for saying that. I'm still making the payments. I'll keep making them until it's all paid back. It won't fix what I did, but it's something. It is something. We stood there for another moment, two sisters who used to share everything, now strangers connected only by debt and betrayal. Then she nodded and walked away. I finished my shopping with that same strange mix of emotions I'd felt before. Sadness for what we'd lost. Relief that I'd stuck to my boundaries. A tiny bit of hope that maybe she really was changing. But no regret for cutting her off. Because protecting myself wasn't cruel. It was necessary. For years after I discovered my sister had been lying to me, I'm finally in a good place. My debt is down to $8,000. I'll have it paid off by the end of the year. I have savings again. Not much, but it's mine. Built by my work for my future. Money that nobody else has access to. I have a degree now. I finished my business management program and got promoted to assistant manager at the restaurant. The pay is good. The benefits are better. I have healthy relationships with people who don't use me. Friends who check on me not because they need something, but because they care. Jasmine and I are closer than ever. She supported me through the worst of this, never once saying "I told you so" even though she had every right to. I've learned to recognize manipulation. To see red flags early. To trust my instincts when something feels off. I've learned that no is a complete sentence. That I don't owe anyone an explanation for my boundaries. I've learned that family isn't an excuse for abuse. That being related to someone doesn't give them the right to use you. Megan still sends her payments every month. We're in year 4 of the 5.5-year plan. She's never missed one. Sometimes she includes a brief note. Updates on her life. Nothing asking for a response, just information. She got a better job. She's in a serious relationship with someone who sounds healthy. She's still in therapy. She's building an actual emergency fund from her actual income. I'm glad for her. I genuinely am. I hope she's changed. I hope she's learned. But I don't respond. Don't reach out. Don't try to rebuild. Because some bridges, once burned, can't be rebuilt. And that's okay. I still think about everything sometimes. About the 18 months I spent being used. About the $43,000. About how close I came to completely destroying myself financially. About how my own sister looked me in the eye month after month and lied to me. But I don't think about it with the same pain I used to feel. Now it's more like looking at a scar. Proof of an injury that's healed. A reminder to be more careful. I learned something important through all of this. I thought I was helping my sister survive. Turns out, I was funding a life she didn't even need saving from. And in the process, I nearly destroyed my own. Family is important. Helping people you love matters. But not at the cost of your own survival. Not when it requires you to sacrifice everything. Not when the person you're helping is lying to you. I gave Megan $43,000 because I thought she needed it to survive. She didn't need it. She wanted it. And she was willing to lie, manipulate, and watch me suffer to get it. That's not love. That's not family. That's exploitation. I don't regret cutting her off. I don't regret setting boundaries. I don't regret choosing myself. The only thing I regret is not doing it sooner. Not trusting my instincts when they told me something was wrong. Not questioning the inconsistencies I noticed. To everyone watching this who's giving and giving and giving to someone who keeps taking, please hear this: you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't help someone by destroying yourself. And you can't love someone into being honest with you. If someone is lying to you, manipulating you, using you, no amount of love will fix that. Only they can fix that by choosing to change. And it's not your job to wait around while they figure it out. It's not your job to keep giving while they keep taking. You matter. Your needs matter. Your future matters. Your financial security matters. Don't let anyone, not family, not friends, not anyone, convince you otherwise. Don't let anyone make you feel selfish for protecting yourself. Don't let anyone guilt you into sacrificing your own survival for their comfort. I learned that the hard way. I gave until I had nothing left. I worked myself to exhaustion. I went into debt. I destroyed my credit. I sacrificed my health, my friendships, my future. All for someone who was fine the whole time. All for someone who saw my love and generosity as something to exploit rather than cherish. I was going broke paying for my sister's life while she was secretly saving thousands. And when I finally found out the truth and cut her off, she called me cruel. Heartless. A bad sister. But I wasn't any of those things. I was finally, after 18 months of being used, putting myself first. And that's not selfish. That's survival. Be honest in the comments. If you discovered someone you were helping had thousands saved while you were struggling, what would you do? Would you cut them off immediately or give them a chance to explain? I'm genuinely curious about your thoughts. And to anyone out there who's struggling with this kind of situation right now, you're not alone. You're not wrong for feeling used. You're not selfish for wanting to protect yourself. You're not cruel for setting boundaries. You're just human. And you deserve better than being treated like a retirement plan. You deserve to be loved for who you are, not what you can provide. You deserve to keep what you earn. You deserve to build your own future instead of funding someone else's. I learned that lesson at the cost of $43,000, 18 months of my life, and my relationship with my sister. I hope you learn it cheaper than I did. I hope you trust your instincts sooner than I trusted mine. I hope you protect yourself before it costs you everything. Because you matter. Your life matters. Your future matters. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise. Not even family. Especially not family. Thank you for watching this story. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from and whether you've experienced something similar. Your engagement helps these stories reach people who need to hear them. And these stories matter. Because somewhere out there, someone is going broke paying for someone else's lies. Someone is working themselves to death while the person they're helping is secretly fine. Someone is about to send money they can't afford to someone who doesn't actually need it. And that person needs to know, it's okay to stop. It's okay to question. It's okay to protect yourself. It's okay to choose you. I chose me. And I'm finally free.